I can get another one later.
Okay. So in our next, how many weeks do we have together? 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks together. We are going to be focusing on getting your family off on the right foot. I think one of the things that happens a lot is parents go, I wish I would have known, or I wish I would have planned that, or I wish I would have, basically gotten my stuff together earlier on, right? So we're going to try to help kickstart you in that direction. And so one of those things is being organized. And so I'm going to show you, this is the project that we're going to be building and developing over these weeks together. This is a home management binder. And so you can look through it if you'd like, but it has things like to-do lists and budget trackers. I'm going to teach you how to, a couple of different ways you can budget your money and keep track of it and get on the right page there. Grocery shopping and meal planning and food storage so you don't waste food. So you have, best times to buy things, store things, cost effective, where in town to buy things. We're going to be doing goal setting. That's going to be next week. You're going to make some personal goals, family goals, project goals, things like that. And then the back part is organization for your home. So, auto maintenance, logs, all different kinds of logs, health logs, your appointments and when things are getting done, information, babysitter information, stuff like that. So it's kind of like your family hub in a binder is what we're going to be getting. So you'll get one of these to be putting together throughout our month together. So today is about getting off on the right foot. And so I'm going to give you, first thing to look at, have you ever heard of developmental assets?
I feel like I've heard the term before, but I'm not sure what exactly it refers to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can kind of guess by the words, but I'm not 100% sure.
I've heard of it, but it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Not in my binder for some reason. I guess I have to go print some. Oh no, here we go. Oh, I guess I just have one. I'll let you guys look at this one and then I'll make a copy for you to take home. So the general idea is that studies have shown that all over the world, in any culture, when children have these assets, they can be in any kind of circumstance and they're okay. So if you look at this, browse this list and say, these are the things that I've had that have helped me get through. And maybe you'll recognize things that you didn't have, but you could see as a value, that would be like important and that would have helped you. And so they're a really good thing to kind of keep in mind as you're setting up your family and how you're going to operate, which is we're starting today. So I'll give you a minute just to peruse those.
I don't think it's going to be a problem between the two of us. I was just glancing at the part of the reading for pleasure. We're both giant bookworms.
I knew that. I could tell. You guys look like book nerds. No, I'm just kidding.
But I got two books hiding in my purse already.
You had a book when you came in the other day. That was funny.
Yeah.
So, do you guys know about kind of the relationship between clover and grass? Anything about that?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay, so I like to give this analogy when we talk about setting things up and values and all of that. And it's nature, out in nature, it's always really interesting. You can see how Something like poison oak, for example, within, I think it's 10 feet or 10 yards or something, there's the antidote to that growing. Out in nature, that's the way it is. If there's something that's poisonous, there's something that's the antidote growing right nearby. Always. So, but you have to know what it is, and you have to know how to use it. So sometimes that antidote is something that you would chew on the root. Another thing would be that you use the leaf or the flower. And you have to know what it is, be able to recognize it, know what part to use, and how to use it in order to help you. So that's kind of the first part of the analogy that I like to say. And then the other side of it is you look at grass, and if you've ever noticed, clover just pops up naturally in grass a lot. And the reason is because clover produces nitrogen, which grass needs in order to grow and be healthy. So people with those perfect sod lawns really try hard to keep the clover out of their lawn, and then they spray like synthetic, fertilizers on top. And they're always doing this battle where a lot of people are starting to go, you know what, the clover's beautiful and it naturally produces what the grass already needs, so let's just let it grow. And in fact, they're kind of developing these ones. We just planted it in our grass, this dwarf clover, so it doesn't have the big white flowers that attract bees, which is why people don't want it usually. But it does all the fertilization for you, and it's not so hard. It's not such hard work to make something healthy, grow and reach its potential. And so the idea of starting off your family with unity and values like that you guys have agreed on and that you're moving forward in is so that when you go to make it, so that it's not so hard to be a family and be a couple and raise a child, but you have these things kind of naturally in place to grow the things that you want to grow. And being unified, I'm sure you guys can probably reflect in your own families and see how unity within a family is important. Maybe because you didn't have it or because you did, but I think every adult reflecting can say unity is an important thing. And then one of the things I think especially first-time parents or young couples go through is that battle of where do we spend our time and our money. And if you start off knowing what is really, really important to each one of you and what is important to you collectively, and what you want your family to be about, then you make those decisions out of that. And if there's, you look at your budget and go, wow, we don't actually have enough money to pay for all the things that we want. So let's look, which things are we spending money on that are in line with who we are and what we want to represent in this world and what we want to pass on to our children and what are not. So let's choose to get rid of those and beef up the things that really matter. Mm-hmm. So we're going to look at goals, and we're going to look at budgeting and organization and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to stem from who you are as individuals and who you are as a family. So today you're going to get some homework, and it's some extra homework because you're a couple, and you're going to have to, rub back and forth and figure out what you guys want to stand for together and what you want to pass on to your children. The first activity we have to start that today, I'm going to have you do individually. And then at home this week, I want you to compare and contrast the two of yours together. Okay. So these are two lists of family mission statement reflection questions. So I want you to choose at least 10 to answer for yourself off those lists. Let me get you pens.
So 10 on top of these guys that I guess we're going to be also answering?
So out of those two lists, choose at least 10.
Oh, out of the two lists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Choose whichever ones you like. You don't have to answer every question, but you certainly can. If you want to spread out a little bit, you can. And I'm actually going to give you guys like a good 15 minutes to really dive into it, and we can take more time if you want. Okay? Just dive in, and you don't have to, of course, write like full sentences, but write enough that you know what you're talking about when you look on it. Because
Right.
this is kind of a building block on an activity we're going to do.